how to create the best LinkedIn profile ever and how to maximize your reach, network the right way, etc. And there's a lot of things that you hear online, but the way that it works for everyone is absolutely different. So it just doesn't really land you in a position where you're able to make the best decision for yourself when you're creating your own LinkedIn profile. And I personally believe that LinkedIn profile is a more personal thing than that. Even your professional journey is a lot more personal in the sense that you are your own storyteller in a way when it comes to your LinkedIn profile. And in order to sell the best story, in order to put it all out there, you have to have some thoughts, some originality, some creativity put into it. And so with that in mind, this fireside chat is basically to make, without the fire, of course, is basically to make sure that we all have a good space and a good discussion. And at the end of the session, there are two things that you need to think about here. First one being, what is your goal from your LinkedIn profile? Do you want to generate more opportunities in terms of getting the network, in the sense that, okay, I would love to, let's say, go to some hackathons. And for that, I actually need to know where the hackathons are happening. In order to do that, my content or anything that I post should resonate with that so that people can reach out to me for those opportunities. That's just one example. Let's say you're looking for job opportunities. In that case, your profile needs a network of folks who are actually giving out jobs. Should be folks working in startups or in companies, something like that, who can give you tips, advice, help you tailor your resume and find you the right opportunities. Next up would be again, so that comes under the first umbrella, which is defining the goal. What do you want from your LinkedIn profile? What do you want your profile to speak? And the second thing is, what actually do you consider as an expertise for yourself? So everyone, when they are presenting their LinkedIn profile or when they're speaking about themselves as well, the one thing that we keep in mind is the storytelling factor of it all. That I want to introduce myself to the professional community. This is the professional community that I want to be a part of. And in order to mark myself as an expert in that particular community, or just say someone who's learning, enthusiastic about that particular field, I need to think what kind of skills I'm developing. So there is one great term which you might have heard around, which is called learning in public. Everybody talks about that, but everybody has a different way to approach it. The way that I approach it, and the way that I've seen that it works best for a lot of people, is that it's not just like whatever you're trying to learn, you got to go ahead and post about it, but think of something that you are enthusiastic and excited about, and whatever you find about that and you find interesting about that, you can definitely post that as a content on LinkedIn. Because that way, one, you're knowledge sharing. B, folks in the community who are actually working on that field or interested in that type of content will definitely follow you or connect with you or talk to you about some sessions. You might get invited to some events where such discussions are happening, which would in turn lead to more opportunities. I can't tell you how many times I've been invited to some events where it's based upon my interest, and from there it led to one opportunity or the other. So it's just a series of domino effect from there. But in order to establish that baseline at first, you don't need to get disheartened. What you need to do is think of something that you want to learn and find that something that you want to learn, whether it's something that inspired you from a community event, whether it's something that you attended a session upon, whether it's just for example, if you're attending this session in general and you learn something new, if you want to share that with your community, that, hey, this is something I learned, which might help you as a great tip, then that is, of course, a great thing that you can use to post something out there that, yes, I'm actively looking to improve my profile, and I would love to connect with folks who are improving their profiles as well. And so together, maybe we can just give each other some sort of review. Again, it all depends upon what sort of thing you are looking for from your LinkedIn connections. And what you are thinking of giving back to the community, how you're thinking of giving back to the community. I got into tech when I started pursuing my graduation from IGTTUW, and I pursued a degree in computer science. So that's where my journey started. Before that, in school, I did a bunch of coding here and there, but was really not too serious about it, because who is when you're in high school? So once I was in my university, I finally got into the hang of it, and I was really excited to develop computer programs from there. I was in an all-girls university, which is a really great experience altogether, because I've seen there are so many extraordinary women in my university who were absolutely enthusiastic about working in tech, and it made me inspired to do a lot of things. So from there, I went and interned at Flipkart, as you heard before. That was my first internship in a high-scale company, I would say. Before that, I used to intern for a bunch of startups or worked as a teaching assistant, etc., but just some odd things. But yeah, that was my first formal offer letter, if you put it that way. And from there, I started to work. After that, I joined Major League Hacking, which is a hackathon organization in based out of US, and they were expanding in the APAC region. Where my role was I was super enthusiastic to go to hackathons and participate in them. As a part of Major League Hacking, my role was to help others who are coming here for the first time not feel so overwhelmed about hackathons, help organizers organize some best events, and give sponsors the best experience when they are at such events. So it all turned into a journey. 3 years later, I'm still a part of Major League Hacking. I still go to a lot of hackathons, but now it's mostly in the EMEA region, because right after my university ended, I joined my first full-time job with Microsoft. I worked there for about a year in the commerce financial services team. And right now I'll shifted to London, Google London office, and I am working with the Play Store monetization team. A couple of things to answer your question, the second question about how I got some of these LinkedIn opportunities that I keep talking about. I found a bunch of them. When I was a student, I got a bunch of scholarships, perhaps being the Women Tech Maker Scholarship, the Goldman Sachs Scholarship, the GHCI Scholarship, and all of those scholarships were based on my community in LinkedIn. Everybody was talking about these scholarships in my community because of the way that I was I was also very how do I put it? Very enthusiastic about these things, very vocal about these things. So when I used to put something out there on my LinkedIn profile, people who were like-minded, who want to work on the similar field, connected with me. And so from there, whenever I used to scroll my LinkedIn profile, I could see a lot of opportunities in my feed. And so it really inspired a bunch of ideas. So that's the first thing that I found from LinkedIn. The second thing I found was, because I was doing a lot of work for the community, I was also reached out by a reporter who was working for Times of India, who wanted to work on an article for the change in programming languages and how student developers are working on different things now than before. And I totally felt that it was an honorable opportunity for me. I mean, it was so honored. I was so inspired to see that the work that I've been doing is actually being put out there, and there's someone who's appreciating the things that are happening in the student developer community. So it was great to see. Even my jobs, the jobs that I applied to there, some of the roles I found through LinkedIn. The Google London gig that I applied to was through LinkedIn. My recruiter actually contacted me after I applied to a job from LinkedIn, which was a role based in Google London. So yeah, a lot of these opportunities came from LinkedIn, and I've been really active in keeping my LinkedIn profile and my Polywork profile up to date, both of those. In Twitter, I am a little less active, but I still keep my profiles up to date, because you never know where opportunity strikes. You never know where the right people, find you, which platform they're using. So if you have certain platforms and you want to maintain those, I would say just keep them up to date, to say the least.
How to find the right people who can help me expose to the job market, both for Indian and international?
It depends upon exactly what you're looking for. If you're looking for startups, or in order to develop your skills, or just find scale ups or something like that, then the best way to go about it is to find people who are already working in the companies. And that also applies to big tech somewhat. But the one major difference there is that when you're connecting with folks who are working on these startups, they can actually give you help you land an interview if you're talking about your skills, if you're telling them that, hey, this is the work that I've already been doing. Again, proof of work, really, really important. If you already have something to show, for example, a GitHub profile, or a link to your project, or a project sample or something, or some credentials, perhaps maybe you went to a hackathon and won a prize, or you went to an event and built something incredible, anything that you would like to share that establishes your credibility, is a great way to get that in. So with startups, it's pretty much easier, because they're small startups who have limited employees, and they are willing to connect there because they're trying to find new folks. You can also try LinkedIn Jobs. I certainly use that a lot when I'm trying to job hunt, but LinkedIn Jobs is more of a numbers game rather than it depends upon your skill set, because sometimes it just depends upon how many job applications you've applied to, how many of them you've heard back, and then how many of them actually go through, because it's sometimes not actually in your control. It's mostly yes, somebody posted a job, but then it got filled and they forgot to remove it. It's an old posting, or they're not looking for a job anymore. In today's current economic conditions, it's really, really hard, because people sometimes do post jobs when they're looking for it, looking for roles, but soon after, it just changes the entire scenario. So it all depends upon that. Finding the right people, of course, depends upon the things you're looking for. My suggestion is write a list of some of the target companies that you're looking for. Target companies need not be in big tech. They do not mean scale ups. They can be anything that you want to work for. Let's say you're looking for to work in a in a particular sector, and working in that sector means that there are certain companies who are doing great in that sector, and so your target companies become those companies, and you what you need to do is find people who are working there already, which you can do with a quick LinkedIn search. So there are a lot of hacks online that you can try, which are just LinkedIn search engine hacks that you can look for. And it's really great to use, and it's really easy to learn as well. So for example, let's say you're looking for someone in who's working, let's say, for a company called Databricks. That's one company that on top of my head I was looking into it. So if you want to look for that, just go ahead and type software engineer Databricks. Let's say you're looking for a software engineering role. So it will just show you a bunch of folks who are working in Databricks as a software engineer. There would be some engineering manager there on the list who will be hiring too. You can search for that as well if you're looking for something like that. But if you're just looking for general tips and tricks, just search for that. And then there would be folks whose profile would be like, there would be someone who you find really interesting, someone whose experiences sound great, and something that you would want for yourself as well. So a great way would be just there would be a way to send personalized message with the connection request, and I highly recommend you do that. The thing is, with a lot of professional employees, they do get a lot of connection requests, and so your message gets lost. They might not even see your profile at first. So using that personalized message actually sets you apart. You would be surprised as to how many people don't use that particular feature, which is honestly, to me, it's very surprising, because it's really easy. What you need to do is just post in a message, and the one message that has worked for me in the past is just like, hey, I saw your profile, it resonated with me, I was working on these things, and I think that you're working on similar things, and I would love to learn more from your experiences, would love to be added to your connection list, or would love to connect with you. And then from there are some people who just accept the connection request, accept that space. You can just post them like a follow-up message if you want. There are some people who actually respond back as well, and that way it's easier to just continue the conversation from there. So yeah, I would say following up is good. You should also follow up, but don't bug someone a little too much.